This is Adam Martin with your Western District Fishing Report. Water temps at Kentucky and Barkley are around 86 degrees, which is only slightly cooler than the daytime air temps have been. With the dog days of summer upon us, the best fishing is going to be during the early mornings and late evenings. Patterns are still similar to my last report, with crappie holding deep in 15 to 30 feet of water. Some bass are being caught on the ledges, but the shallow bite has still been more predictable. There are plenty of schools of bait fish shallow, and picking up the occasional shallow white bass is also not uncommon. However, with today's fishing report, I'd like to give you a few ideas and talk about some places in western Kentucky you may not have fished before or even known about. The first is the trout fishing at Fort Campbell Military Base. Fort Campbell has two spring-fed rivers which flow through it and which are routinely stocked by our department and the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. The military does require you to buy an additional permit to fish there, but as long as you're on the base, your Kentucky fishing license will work in Tennessee and vice versa. In some areas, they also allow kayaking. So if the idea of some 64-degree water sounds good to you, then feel free to check it out. The second place I'd like to talk about is one that you've certainly heard of, but may not have fished before, the Mississippi River. Now, Kentucky doesn't have a huge section of it, but the fishing there can be incredible, and the scenery is very unique, with miles of open sandy beaches and swift currents. The catfish are huge, and so are the white bass, but you can also pick up some more unusual fish, like blue suckers. Creek mouths and secondary channels are probably where you want to start, as the main channel often has heavy barge traffic, and the river can be a bit intimidating if you're used to fishing the lakes. So if the idea of fishing the Mississippi sounds a little too daunting, then you may want to check out the lower Cumberland and Tennessee rivers first. Both rivers have good access points, and the currents are much less intimidating. Additionally, the fishery below Smithland Lock and Dam can also be a good segue into trying out the mighty Mississippi. So hopefully you'll be able to seize the sense of adventure and give these places a shot. And as always, if you're on the water, please remember to wear your life jackets and kill switches. Good luck.
This is Jeff Crosby with the Central District Fishing Report. Lake temperatures across the area are running in the low to mid 80s. Bass fishing across the district is a little slow as we're getting into the dog days of summer. However, bass can be caught casting crankbaits, bladed jigs, spinner baits, also topwater baits such as buzz baits, Zara spooks, Sammies, can be very productive when fished in early morning or late evening hours. And finally, plastic worms, creature baits, or jig and plastics continue to be productive when fished around shoreline cover at night. At Taylorsville, it's a great time of year to catch a few channel and blue catfish using cut shad in 8 to 15 feet of water. You can fish areas that are near the old creek or river channels. Bluegill and shellcracker fishing across our area lakes are good, especially at Corinth, Beaver, Elmer, or McNeely lakes. Fishermen are catching a few of these fish using redworms, waxworms, or crickets fished along the edge of the aquatic vegetation. Also concentrate your efforts in the cuts and small coves along the shoreline. And finally, it's an excellent time of year to get out and enjoy some of the local streams such as Elkhorn Creek, Salt River, or Floyd's Fork. Good catches of smallmouth and rock bass can be taken in these streams during this time of year. Fish are being caught on small jerkbaits, crankbaits, and jigs. Remember always to ask for permission before entering private property. So grab a pole, enjoy some great summertime fishing, and I hope to see you on the water.